All right, good morning, everyone. Hopefully, everyone can hear me. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening from. It's actually fairly early where I am right now, and I have to tell you, I'm actually really enjoying these morning live chats with you guys discussing a variety of different topics, and I think we're actually going to keep it a little bit earlier than usual. I know before when we started these chats, we would start around noon my time or 1 p.m. my time. It's actually just before 8 a.m. and I was a little bit early this morning. So thank you so much for joining me today. Our topic is going to be 6 easy ways to easily improve your diet starting today. So as the title suggests, we're actually going to keep it fairly simple. We could get into numerous topics on this, but what I actually want to do is just keep it simple. And I gave it some good thought yesterday. One, during the day and also when I was working out, what are some easy ways that we can easily improve our diet and also easily improve your diet in a way where you can keep that diet for the rest of your life, make it a lifestyle, and allow it to help you reach your goals, because I think that's the main thing for your diet. And when I say diet, just always remember, guys, I'm not talking about losing weight. I mean, that might be one of your goals, but it necessarily doesn't mean that we're trying to lose weight, and it's not a goal for everyone. So ways that you can improve your diet, there's numerous ways. And we're going to get into that. Before we do, thank you so much again for everyone joining me. Thank you for the support on yesterday's video. Very happy to see that you guys were enjoying that, and for our live streams earlier in the week. If you're in the chat right now, just let me know that you can hear me. It's always nice to know that you can be heard. Sometimes you never actually know what YouTube's doing or some of the software's doing. So let me know where you guys are from. Let me know your location. Like I said, let me know how you guys are doing this morning, how everything's going. And thank you so much for the thumbs up. I do appreciate it. I know that I did sort of get a little bit late with the reminder for the stream this morning, but always remember, guys, whoever's listening now, if you're listening later, there's going to be streams every Wednesday morning and every Sunday morning at least, okay? And it's probably going to be in and around this time. So every Wednesday morning and every Sunday morning, there will be a stream. So let me know where you guys are listening from. Say hi in the chat. Ask your questions. I would like it to be as engaging as possible. And just one last thing we'll point out before we get into the chat. I'm noticing when I'm putting up the whole live chat up on YouTube, if there's a little bit of a pause at the beginning, I think that's just my software kicking in, and I also think it's just waiting for me trying to skip the ad that's starting to play before the video. So sometimes what people will do is they'll add a little bit of a countdown. We just get right into it here. That's why sometimes there will be a little bit of a delay, but I just wanted to point that out to you guys. So again, let me know where you guys are from. Say hi in chat. Let me know that I can be heard. If you can, please and thank you. So I hope everyone's having a great day so far. I hope you're having a great morning. Like I said, I love these morning streams. I'm having my cup of coffee this morning. No meals yet. We'll probably get into that a little bit later. Going to have a workout a little bit later, and then we'll go from there. Got to work today. All that good stuff. Mimi, thank you so much. Good to see you in chat. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for saying hi. And hopefully you can hear me, and hopefully everyone else can hear me. So good morning to you, Mimi. Thank you so much for joining me today. So we're going to get into some of those topics that we can easily improve your diet. And we want to get into topics where we can easily improve the diet starting today. That's why we're going to keep it simple, guys. We could do a whole breakdown of micronutrients that you need to add. Certain macronutrients, certain foods that might be important for you. But today we're going to think of it as different strategies that you can use, and also some different food groups, or at least a nice umbrella of different food groups. That's the whole point for today's discussion. So let's start off with our first one then. And again, these are ones that, I was going back and forth. I have them all written down. I kind of narrowed it down to 6 things, and these 6 are things that have worked for me in the past, things that have worked for my clients. Remember, I've worked with maybe, hundreds of clients at this point, and things that are backed by studies. All right, so these aren't things that I'm kind of just pulling out of thin air. I kind of broke these down from a list of different strategies and different ways we can improve our diet. And I kind of broke it down to the 6 that I think are going to be the most helpful for you, and the 6 that have been the most helpful for myself and my clients, like I've mentioned before. So let's get right into the first one here, guys. We'll keep it rolling on today's stream, on today's chat. And again, ask your questions if you have them as well. So I think for the first one that we can immediately start doing today, and something that I've seen in so many consultations that I've been doing, people are so low in their water consumption. So the first one, if you want to improve your diet, and again, the diet can mean a bunch of different things. It can mean weight loss. It can mean getting more micronutrients, right? It can mean having, better mood. It can be more energy during the day. If we want to do all of these different things, we have to start with drinking more water and having more water in your diet. Because what I see constantly from doing these consultations is people are getting basically 1 or 2 glasses of water a day, maybe 1 water bottle, which will equal to about 500 milliliters a day. And these are people who are physically active as well. And if you're physically active, we know that we need more and more water. Also, the bigger you are, probably going to need more water as well. So the first one, add more water to your diet, guys. Again, so many different functions of having water in our diet. All right. And we know more and more people, and again, I see this on a firsthand level, that people are just chronically dehydrated right now. People are not getting enough water. And what we usually see is recommended for people with water consumption and water intake is somewhere in between 2.5 to 4 liters of water per day. And again, that's going to be changing depending on your physical activity and your size. All right. So height, weight, all of that other stuff. And then just again, it can also depend on, your mood, your energy levels. If you're a little bit lower in energy, then you're going to maybe want to add some more water to your diet. And then other good thing about water, we'll talk about the functions and why I think this is so important here in a second. But the other thing with your diet, a lot of people mistake hunger, all right, for hydration, for thirst. So again, if we want to improve the diet, if we want to cut down calories a little bit, right, maybe that's one of our goals, then we should be adding more and more water to our diet. All right, and a lot of the reasons why people are low energy, people are reaching for things like stimulants, caffeine, all those other things, thinking maybe they need more sleep, going for naps. A lot of the times it's just we're low in water intake. All right, we're just not drinking enough water. And again, if you're physically active, you need anywhere from 3 liters probably to about 4 liters. Again, that's going to depend just on your intensity levels and your size, but that's what you see in most studies, and that's usually what's recommended the most. So drinking water, that's the first one. All right, easily to improve your diet. If you're drinking 1 water bottle a day, 500 milliliters, and you're doing that day in and day out, and most people that I've spoke with have been doing that for months and even years. If you're doing that, then I'm sorry to say, but there's a good chance that you are chronically dehydrated. All right, and there's this correlation that I see every single time. People who have low water intake and people who have low energy, and also people who snack at night. Again, because their body is thinking that they need more and more calories. All right, so they're reaching for those nighttime snacks. There's a huge correlation between the two. So the first thing I want you guys to think about, all right, maybe this is one strategy for you. Remember, these are strategies that have worked for me in the past, have worked for clients. One thing that you might want to think about is drinking more water throughout the day. Now, not only is water important for the reasons that I just discussed here. Again, we don't want to be chronically dehydrated. We want good hydration, right? But the other thing is, for people who aren't drinking enough water, we have to remember that we're 60%, all right, about 60% of our body weight is water, all right? So that just goes to show you how important water actually is. So our body uses water, all right, in many bodily functions, all right? That's the thing that people forget about, all right? We actually need water, all right, to help improve bodily functions, all right? Some of the ones we'll get into right now. We will get into it throughout the discussion, but some of the ones that are the most important for us, like breathing, all right, we need water. For sweating, obviously, that's why we talked a little bit about physical activity. For digesting, for your digestive system and having good digestion, then we need water. Those are all things that are going to be happening if we're drinking enough water and we're not chronically dehydrated. All right. So let's think of some other ones, and go ahead, guys, say hi in chat. Let me know that you can hear me. That would be greatly appreciated. I know that we're on a Wednesday morning, but if you can, please let me know that you can hear me. Let me know where you're from. It'd be greatly appreciated. And say hi. All right, remember, I love the interaction with you guys. That's why I love doing these streams. So first one, guys, one of the easiest ways that we can improve our diet. And remember, our diet is just the foods and drinks, beverages that are in our diet on a day-to-day basis. Don't think about diet as losing weight. That's not what this chat is about. So the first one, have more water. All right, again, having more water is going to protect our joints, all right, and our tissues. So very, very important, all right? If we want to keep our joints and, our cells protected, things like our brain even, all right, even our spinal cord, things of that nature, all right, we need water as a protective measure, even against illness. So very, very important for water in that aspect, all right, protecting our joints. We talked a little bit about joint pain in our last discussion. One of the biggest things, all right, if you're dehydrated, especially chronically dehydrated, then you probably, all right, a good chance that you're not drinking enough water. Could be a bunch of different other things like we discussed in that joint pain discussion. But again, dehydration, all right, proper hydration is going to lead, all right, to better joint health. All right, we need it. It acts as a cushion for our joints. All right, also it's going to protect brain health, protect our things like spinal cord. I saw in a bunch of different studies. Ariel Gaming, thank you so much for letting me know. New England, very nice. New England, congratulations. I think did Boston win yesterday in the baseball game? I'm not sure. I was going to congratulate you. I saw that they were winning, but great to have you, New England here. Thank you so much for saying hi, and thank you so much for joining me in the chat this morning. So again, water needed to protect joints, tissues, things like. So try to get enough water into your diet. Again, that's going to be dependent on your activity levels. The higher or the more activity that you're doing, so if you're working out at a greater intensity, the more water that you're going to need in your diet. Also on your height and weight. Now, another important thing with water and why it's so important for improving your diet, all right? Again, it's going to help with removing waste from the body, different toxins, all right? And another thing, again, we know that it can aid in digestion. So not only is it going to help us to remove toxins, all right, through the process of urination, through, bowel movements, things like that, but to get that benefit, we need water for digestion, for proper digestion, for regularity, all right? Again, for removing for removing toxins. All of those different things. So again, water, super important when it comes to hydration, guys. Super important when it comes to digestion. And again, those people who are dealing with symptoms of constipation, all right, a lot of times those people are low in water, 1 or 2 glasses a day, even less, all right, 500 milliliters or less of water. A lot of the times, like Ariel Gaming just pointed out, they'll reach for coffee rather than water. Now, we have seen some studies where coffee does have a hydration effect, but we also know that coffee is a mild diuretic. So what a good rule of thumb to do, guys, is, and as Ariel is pointing out, make sure if you drink a cup of coffee, always have a glass of water. I had 2 glasses of water. I always do the same thing when I wake up, 2 glasses of water right off the bat, and then I'll have a glass of water with the coffee as well. So again, just be on the lookout for that. But we also, again, we have to know bodily functions are affected by our hydration. Right? And one of them, as I've already shown or discussed, and this was proven by research, dehydration is going to have a negative effect on memory, on attention span, on, even energy and mood, things of that nature. We've seen in numerous studies how mood can be affected by dehydration. And again, I already talked about how the body is about 60% water. I believe the brain is even more than 60%. I think it's over 70, maybe even around 75% water. All right, so we know that H2O makes up about 75% of the brain. So very, very important. We want to keep the electrolyte balance. All right. We want to keep our body functioning optimally. So again, to get rid of, weakness, fatigue, confusion, again, more and more water, guys. And again, enough for your body, enough for your activity levels. So that can mean 2.5 liters to 4 liters, 4 liters being a gallon. I'm a 4-liter guy. I need 4 liters a day. And I do that pretty actively. All right. When it comes to water intake, and this is why I wrote it down first, and it was the first one that kind of came to me, not only is it showing the important bodily functions of drinking water and making sure that we're properly hydrated. We already know that there's so many people, and such a big percentage of people who are chronically dehydrated or dehydrated acutely. We know that water is super important, but also it's our body and our health starts with water. If we're making a pyramid, guys, of important foods, all right, and important beverages that we need to consume, water is at the very bottom of the pyramid, meaning that is the most important. It takes up the most room. It's the thing that we have to think the most about. We cannot survive more than, I think the studies show, 2 to 3 days without water. So again, just super important. So to improve the diet easily, we can start that today. That's why I like doing these in the morning, because we can start it right off the bat here. Make sure that we get more water. BTS Forever, thank you so much. Hey, maybe we'll have a discussion about that sometime. We've talked a little bit about digestion and things of that nature. If you're looking for a little bit on that topic, I believe there's some videos that I've done just discussing that topic. So you can search for those. We'll definitely talk about that in another chat. 100%. So it's something that people are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. So again, guys, I think we can end it there. Number 1, add more water to your diet. Make sure that we have better hydration levels. Again, we've talked about many bodily functions and about how people are chronically dehydrated. If you want to easily improve your diet today, try to get in those adequate levels of water intake. All right, now let's talk about another one, guys. All right, and here's another one that I've seen personally, all right, is a great tool and a great strategy to easily improve your diet, and we can do it today. When it comes to water, if you're chronically dehydrated or getting very, very low levels of water, I'm not saying go from 1 glass to 8 glasses in one day, but you can add it gradually. You can go from 1 glass and then for the next week, try to get 3 glasses. For next week after that, 4. Do it gradually, guys, because, we don't want to just rush into it. It's going to be harder for you to sustain if you're just rushing into it and trying to add all this water into your diet, something that you haven't done for years even. It's going to be very, very tough. So you can always take a gradual step forward doing that. Another thing that I want to talk a little bit about, again, like I just pointed out, this is a great tool that's worked for me. It's worked for a bunch of different clients, and there's been studies that back this up. Again, if we want to, and we can do it today, which is great. If we want to easily improve your diet, all right, start writing down what you eat. And it's also known as mindful eating. All right, being mindful, having mindfulness of the things that go into our body. A lot of the times we just, without thinking, will grab for different foods. Sometimes if we're hungry, we'll grab for those high calorie dense foods, low in micronutrients, just trying to get anything that we can into your diet, all right, into your body, because we're hungry. So write down what you're eating throughout the day. Again, mindful eating. Not only is that going to help with allowing you to actually know and remember, and you can go back and check your energy levels on certain days and look at what you're eating. Check your sleep levels, check your mood. All right, you can go back and look at that. But you can also, another thing that's so great about it is you can also plan ahead of some of your meals. So not only are you writing down what you eat, you can also, during the day, you can write down what you're going to eat for the next day. So you can do what's called meal prepping. I think that's a great one to improve your diet. Know what you're going to be eating beforehand. Right? So if you need to add more vegetables into your diet, write down some vegetables that you can add during the day. It's great for grocery shopping, guys. Right? You know, if you're low in cruciferous vegetables, if you're low in maybe some, let's say you want to start adding bell peppers, great vitamin C, good for boosting the immunity, especially as it starts to get cold here. You know, cold and flu season is going to be starting. All right? You can write that down. And then when you go grocery shopping, you know that that's something that you need to focus on. But there's been numerous studies, guys, that show that writing down what you eat on a day-to-day basis has been proven to, help you achieve the goals of getting in those micronutrients and getting in the foods that will allow you to increase your health. And it's worked for me. It's worked for many of my clients. And it can, especially for the people who are trying to cut back on calories. Again, it's going to add accountability into your diet as well. So a lot of the times, you write down, let's say you're having eggs and let's say you're having oatmeal. That's what I'm going to be having later today. That might not necessarily what you're going to be having, right? But that's what I'm going to be having today. Let's use that as an example, right? I can write down, maybe I'm feeling a little bit hungry. Maybe I would need to cut back a little bit on those carbohydrates. Maybe I'm counting calories. All right. I can write down, it'll make me a little bit more accountable. All right. Should I be having that full half a cup or should I be going with a third of a cup? All right. So again, making you more accountable. Again, if I need to add fruits to the diet, then I can easily add blueberries or maybe apples or things of that nature into the diet as well. Again, I know what's going into my body, so I can write it down, right, and follow and track the things that I need to eat and the things that are going to make me healthier in the long run. So write down what you're eating, guys. Have that mindful eating. So many times we're just grabbing foods that are almost like a quick fix. They're almost used as a dopamine rush. That's why sugar is such a big thing in our diet right now. All right. I'm going to do a whole discussion on sugar. Sugar is just wreaking havoc on our diets today, guys. But we'll get into that a little bit more. But writing down what you're eating is going to help get some of that sugar out of your diet as well, because again, you know what's going into your body. If you're trying to cut back on sugar, writing down and actually knowing the things that's going in is going to be a tremendous tool for you. Now, thank you again. Thank you so much for the thumbs up, guys. I really appreciate it. We're just constantly going up and up every time I look. Again, let me know where you guys are listening from. I see Ariel's from New England. BTS, let me know where you're listening from. I would love to hear it. Let me know who else is in chat today. I know Mimi's in chat. So thank you so much, guys. And again, thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the support. So I think another important strategy, guys, if we want to improve the diet, and again, starting today, remember, we need to keep it simple when it comes to our diet and things of that nature. If we want to get healthier, then we need to keep it simple because we want to make this a lifestyle change, not a quick fix. The people who are making it, remember, this isn't a weight loss discussion. This is a way to improve your diet and to get healthier. If we were talking about losing weight, all right, we would be getting into the discussion of calorie low foods, certain carbohydrates that we want to eat, lean proteins that we need to add to our diet, maybe supplementation, exercise, things of that nature. But today we're adding things that are easy, things that we can use to improve the overall diet, the overall foods that are going into our body. So writing down what you eat is a tremendous tool, and it's something that not a lot of people do. All right, that's also something that we see in the studies. It's not a tool that a lot of people are using, and it's so effective. I believe more and more people should be using it. I keep a small little book with me, right? And right as soon as I start cooking a meal or right after I'm done eating, it's usually before, but usually by the time it's either started or by the time I've already finished, all right, I've already written it down. And it's just a great tool, again, for that accountability and mindful eating. Tiana, thank you so much for commenting. Mindful eating. I love that term. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I kind of just wrote that down. Mindful eating. All right. You see it within like mental health discussions and things like that. I'm sure I haven't coined the term. I'm sure it's out there. But that's just one that I wrote down. I thought it was a good fit. So thank you so much for making that comment. I'm glad that you like it, and hopefully you find it useful. So mindful eating, guys, having that accountability, write down. And again, not only is it going to help you with, adding certain foods, but you can go back and check. If you're trying to lose weight, you can go back and check. Maybe you need to cut some calories. Maybe you need to cut some foods out. Maybe if you're noticing that you're having nighttime snacking, all right, be more mindful that you need to maybe add a meal in, something that's healthy, at a certain time before bed, maybe a little bit closer to bedtime, so that you can reduce that nighttime eating. Because again, the nighttime eating is such a correlation with, high calorie foods, chips, ice cream, fast food, processed foods, frozen foods, things like that. So huge correlation. Whenever I'm doing consultations, I'll literally just make a line on the piece of paper that I'm writing people's diets down, trying to get an idea of what they're eating. I'll always just create a whole section just for what people are eating at night, because usually that's when you start to see the junk food. That's when you see the high calorie, low nutrient foods being added into people's diets. And again, that can be because, one, they're not getting enough micronutrients throughout the day. Maybe they're not eating enough throughout the day. Or even going back to our first one, maybe they're dehydrated. All right, so they're trying to get that quick fix, trying to feel better. So number one, add more water to your diet, guys, because we know the importance of, one, hydration. We know that it's important for mood. We know that it's important for energy levels, all of that good stuff. But we also know it's important for bodily functions. Many of those bodily functions were so important, which we talked about. Number two, write down what you eat. That way you know what's going into your body. You know if you need to add certain foods, certain food groups. All right, maybe you're a little bit low in carbohydrates and proteins and healthy fats, because remember, we need healthy fats in our diet, guys. People have this fear of fat, but we actually need healthy fats in our diet. So you can go back and look, all right, and see, are you getting enough healthy fats in your diet? If you're trying to lose weight, you can go back and look at your diet and see if you need to cut things out. Again, a tremendous tool, a tremendous strategy to improve your overall diet, and something that you can easily do today. So try writing down what you eat, guys. Have that mindful eating. Another thing now let's talk a little about another one here. All right, and again, these are all things that we can do today, guys. That's why I wrote these ones down, and that's why I think that they're so important. There's tons of things that we can do, but I think these ones are the easiest, and they're things that we can do today. Number three, this one's more direct into the types of foods that we're eating. Again, I think if we're trying to improve your diet, I think we have to have at least a little bit of a discussion on the types of foods that are going into our body. Of course, it only makes sense, right, guys? We need to cut out the bad, increase the good. All right, so we had those first two tools: drink more water, write down what you eat, have mindful eating. Number three, eat more whole foods. It sounds simple, but so many people, all right, and I'm not saying you guys, all right, but so many people out there, and if it's not us, then we're doing a good job. We can keep this up, but increase or eat more whole foods. All right, whole foods, so important, guys. Again, we're just not getting enough whole foods. A lot of the population, all right, that's why fast food is such a booming industry. It's been around for generations at this point. Right? People getting that quick fix. And the thing about it, whole foods, super high in micronutrients, super high in things like healthy fats. Micronutrients are great macronutrients. Fiber, again, helping with digestion, helping with mood, helping with energy. All of that good stuff, all right, goes hand in hand with water intake. Again, if you're thinking about that pyramid, guys, we know water's at the bottom, but whole foods like raw vegetables, fruits, like whole grains, good lean cuts of protein, things of that nature. We know that those things are so important. Processed foods, all right, and sugars are at the very top of the pyramid. Those are the things that we want to have the least of. All right, and those are the things that are the worst for us and least important for us as well. All right, so more whole foods in the diet, guys. What I mean by that is, one, you can add more vegetables. Again, things that are coming from the earth, things that are growing maybe organic, if we can, non-GMO as much as possible. I know we always get into a discussion on that. Try your best. It's very, very tough to eat 100% non-GMO, 100% organic, but try your best with that. So again, what do I mean by whole foods? All right, we're talking about things that come from the ground, things that aren't processed. I think that's a huge one. So less frozen foods, less fast foods. People often forget about frozen foods. All right, it could be those frozen meals. Again, I was trying to think of some, but I really don't eat a ton of frozen foods. The only things I eat that are frozen are like frozen blueberries or things like that. I'm even trying to think of other things. Maybe I'll freeze like broccoli or mixed vegetables or something like that, but I'm trying to cut out as much frozen foods because those are the processed foods, guys, and have so many preservatives in it and so much sodium. All right, that's fine. That's another reason why we need more whole foods. Lower in sodium, lower in sugar, also lower in preservatives, things like that. The frozen foods, those are just loaded with those things, and those are the things that are the worst for our diet. So again, if you're trying to improve, we need to cut those things out, or at least cut them back. Cut them out as much as possible, but at least start to cut back today if we can. All right, such a, again, huge tool and something that people don't even really think about. All right, so if we can, try to eat more of those whole foods. Again, you guys already know what I'm talking about. Less frozen foods, more vegetables, more fruits, lean cuts of meat, whole grains. Those are all tremendous things for us to add. Again, those processed foods, they're so easy for us to get, right? And they're marketed to be easy for us to get. That's the whole point. That's why they're there for us. It takes a little bit more time, and maybe that's why we want to write things down. I think that's why number 2 becomes so important and is such an important tool. The more we're writing it down, the more we can start to cut back on some of those frozen foods. So number 3, add more whole foods into your diet, guys. Less frozen foods. Again, ask some of your questions here too. I see a bunch of people here listening as well, so don't be afraid to add some of your questions as well as we're getting into these topics, because I think we've been going for about 30 minutes. Sometimes I feel like I can ramble on and I give you guys all these stats and all these tools and strategies, but if you guys feel like asking your questions as well in relation to these topics, feel free to do that. It's an open forum for you guys, but just make sure, if you can, try to make sure that they're on the topic that's being discussed today. Ask some things, what are some ways that we can easily improve our diet starting today? And again, thank you so much for everyone for joining me today. So again, number 3, eat more whole foods. Cut back on those processed foods, guys, if we can. All right, try to limit them, if you can, to 0. Right now, what I always say is, if you're trying to maintain a healthy diet, it's probably not always going to be 0. There probably is going to be, and probably should be, days where you're having, your cheat meal, or your diet is a little bit more laxed. Some people recommend a day. I would recommend maybe a meal towards the end of a day, not having a whole day where you're going off that diet and adding things into the whole foods, or getting rid of those whole foods and more processed foods, because what we start to see is, and I've seen it personally, even just working with a bunch of different clients, if we take that day, a day becomes 2. 2 days becomes 3. Before we know it, we have a whole week where we're adding in. It might not be the whole day, but we're adding in different meals, right, that are processed or off from those whole foods that we're looking for. So a lot of the times, what I'd like to suggest is you can plan ahead, have your, if you want to call it a cheat meal, or be a little bit more relaxed on your diet, you can go ahead and do that. I think that's important for us. Not only is it important, for maintaining a diet, but we also see in a bunch of different studies it's important psychologically for us as well. We're getting variety, and we'll talk about that a little bit more going forward in our discussion today. But it's also important psychologically as well to be able to maintain that diet. So number 1, guys, add more water. Number 2, write down what you eat. Have that mindfulness once it comes to eating. All right, know what's going into your body. Also know what's not going into your body. Maybe you're devoid of certain micronutrients, maybe certain vegetables, things like that. All right, so writing down, tremendous tool. Number 3, again, if we're trying to improve your diet, we have to talk about what's going into the body. All right, add more whole foods. All right, I think that's super important for you guys. Now we're halfway there, so we have 3 more. Let me know what you guys think about the first 3. I know Ada was talking a little bit about the importance of mindful eating, and again, I think that's going to be a huge one for you guys, so you can take that one away. And again, start adding that today. Start writing down. All right, you can even have almost like a food journal with you. All right, once you, maybe even before you prepare your meal, you can start writing down those foods that you're adding into your meal. All right, number 4. All right, I think this is a big one. All right, you might not see this in a lot of lists. Remember, this is my own list, guys. All right, again, things that have worked for me, things that have worked for a lot of my clients, and it's sort of backed by research, but you don't always see this a lot. But I think a big one, if you're trying to improve your diet and things that we can do today, try to get less and less of your calories from liquids. All right, from beverages and things like that. People will turn to, like fruit juice, apple juice, orange juice, things like that. The thing is, if you're drinking a lot of your calories, number one, those types of beverages are super high in calories. People don't really realize that. A lot of times we aren't looking for the labels. We think that fruit juice and things like that are going to be healthier for us. Maybe we might get a little bit more micronutrients, but it's also super high in calories. And the thing is, it's usually loaded with sugar. So I think if we're trying to improve our diet, trying to get fewer and fewer of your calories from liquids, fruit juices, all right, soda, things like that. Horrible for our diet. Those 2 things that I just mentioned. 1, all right, devoid of micronutrients when it comes to soda and things like that. Other things like energy drinks, things that can be super high in sugar, all right, not a lot of micronutrients in those. They might have added B vitamins. I know that's a huge thing in advertising, but how much of those B vitamins are actually digested or absorbed through the body? All right, I know taurine is a huge one in there, but how much of taurine is actually absorbed through the body? So again, fewer and fewer calories from liquids. We want more and more calories from number 3. I think that's why these go hand in hand, from whole foods. Again, so many times, fruit juices, things like that with our beverages, right? All you're doing is loading up on the things that we don't want, like sugar, all right? Again, preservatives, things like that, right? Even more processed things. You'll see things like colors or, modified corn syrup and things like that in those fruit juices, in those beverages that we're reaching for. And again, just super high in calories. I think even just 1 cup of something like orange juice is at least 200 calories. And it's usually what you'll see is it's like 150 to 200, depending on, which brand or, again, how much you're having. But again, what you'll see is 1 cup of orange juice and anywhere from 20 to 25 grams of sugar. Some people will add that it's, natural sugar from the fruit, but a lot of the times it's added sugar, guys. It's to increase the taste. So again, it's all it's going to do. Let's say it's natural sugar, all right, or, from fruit like oranges, apples, things like that. At the same time, all it's going to do is spike your blood sugar, okay? Again, it's devoid of micronutrients. So if you're spiking your blood sugar, remember, that's going to be something that's not going to be improving your diet, because what that's going to do is, number 1, make you more hungry, all right? Because, again, if you spike the blood sugar, right, you're going to lead to an eventual crash. And it's during that crash when a lot of times people will have that nighttime snacking or reaching for foods, right? More and more foods that are calorie dense, maybe more unhealthy foods, right? Because they're getting that crash. So again, less and less calories from liquids, more and more calories from whole foods, guys. And again, whenever I say, take out soda, even diet soda I would try to take out. If you're going to have one, of course, go with diet soda. But again, not the most healthiest. I think there's so many things that you can add to your diet other than those drinks like soda, fruit juices, energy drinks, things like that. One of the ones, right, number 1, it just goes back to water, right? You can even get flavored water. I don't drink a ton of flavored water, but I know a lot of people do. It's easier for them to increase water intake if they're having flavored water, so you can go ahead and do that. Carbonated water is a good one. I know that helps with a lot of people increase their water intake. You can also have teas. There's a ton of different teas out there, so you can, have a nice wide variety of tastes and things like that when it comes to your beverages. But I think that's a nice, easy way to add, liquid into your diet and lose the calories. I mean, in green tea, there's no calories. Even in coffee, no calories. Right? A lot of people will cut coffee out of their diet. I don't think a couple cups of coffee is necessarily a bad thing for your diet. Right? Just depending on the person. If you're sort of sensitive to caffeine, then yeah, you might want to cut back on the coffee, but a cup or two a day is not going to hurt you, at least from the studies that I've seen, in the long run. Again, just make sure you're having a cup of water for every cup of coffee that you have, guys. So again, if we want to improve our diet today, and this is something that we can do starting now, cut those high-calorie liquids from our diets, the fruit juices, the sodas, things like that. Again, I see so many clients, You'd think, even with all like the marketing and all the things that is out there on soda and sugar and all the bad things that go along with that, soda is just as popular today as it has been over the course of 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, even longer, right? More and more is coming out, to be honest. It's not like people are cutting back. We have the same amount. I think I read an interesting study. It's the same amount sold every single year and the same amount consumed year in and year out, and actually more. It might be slightly increasing each and every year. So even though we know there's really no benefit to adding soda into the diet, it's increasing every single year. And all it's doing, right, is adding calories and sugar into your diet, things that aren't going to improve your diet and make it much worse. That's going to have a huge effect on, one, spiking blood sugar, right? So creating those crashes. All right, perhaps if we're doing it over the course of a number of different years, 10 years, 15 years, who knows? It's a lot of the times it's determined by genetics as well. All right, but it can lead to, metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, things of that nature, if we're constantly spiking our blood sugar. And there have been studies, people who have soda in high quantities, day-to-day basis, if it's 2 to 3 a day, higher chance of a higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes. So keep that in mind as well, guys. If we want to limit chronic disease, that's why we need to cut these out of our diet as well. Lester, good morning to you. Green tea. That's an excellent question. So green tea, if I was going to add, calories that are, if we want to decrease calories from beverages, I'd say number one, water is probably your most important one. Number two, or number 1B, can be green tea as well. I try to have 2 green teas a day, and it's not really, again, the reason why I'm doing it is just for the health benefits of green tea. It wasn't always something that I enjoyed, but now it's sort of grown on me, and it's something that I've been able to add to my diet quite easily. But I think green tea is tremendous. If you looked at yesterday's video, green tea and cloves, so many health benefits to green tea. But Lester, I think that's a great question. Again, good morning to you. But green tea would be like 1B. I think it's a great way to add some variety, so you're not just drinking regular plain water, because that's something I hear all the time. Oh, water's boring, or I don't like the taste of water, or water has no taste, things like that. You guys have probably heard it all before as well. I think green tea is a nice switch up, right? And we know that it's packed with antioxidants. Remember, we talked about catechins before, so super high antioxidants, super potent antioxidants, and that unique compound, which has tremendous antioxidant, anti-inflammatory effects, can have a little bit of an effect on metabolism, but EGCG. I don't have it right in front of me, but I think I pronounced it correctly last time. But short term is the short form for it is known as EGCG. I think green tea is tremendous. I have 2 to 3 a day. And it's a nice switch up, Lester, as you're sort of pointing out, from, just regular water. But I love green tea. What a lot of the studies show, guys, just on the green tea, and again, green tea is a great way to cut out calories from liquids, because again, liquids, a lot of the times, adding sugar, adding pretty much no micro or macronutrients other than sugar or carbohydrates to your diet. There's usually no healthy fats or protein in those liquids. But the nice thing about green tea, and something that you're not going to get from apple juice or from soda, antioxidants, anti-inflammatories, very, very healthy compounds, potent compounds that are going to improve your overall health. Just so important. All right, and a great way to reduce calories. Again, when you're drinking those sugary drinks, all right, all you're doing, guys, again, is increasing calories, all right? And if more and more calories are coming from your liquids, they're not sustaining you. They're not going to make you feel more full. They might temporarily, 30 minutes to an hour, but they're not going to sustain you. There's absolutely no fiber or anything like that in those liquids. But another liquid, I'll give you guys just a couple. So water, plain water, I mentioned carbonated water, different teas. So it doesn't have to be green tea. It can be different teas. Sometimes I'll drink fennel tea. At least right now, I'm always like on different kicks. It's like peppermint tea, fennel tea, white tea, oolong tea, rooibos tea, green tea, things like that. You guys get the point. So it can be a bunch of different kinds. Black tea, love. Chai tea, love. All right, all those different kinds. All right. So I think adding those liquids is in there. Another good one is lemon water or cucumber water. I have a ton of clients who are now on to lemon water as a way. They did not like water before, or their water intake was low before, and then they started adding lemons to their water, and they love that flavor. That you can add lemons and limes. I think that's a great choice for low calorie liquids into your diet, and also all the health benefits coming from lemon and limes. All right, remember, when it comes to lemon water or lime water, I like when you squeeze a little bit of that lemon into the water as well. That way you get some of the pulp. All right, you get the pectin benefits of the lemons as well. All right, but that's another great choice, and keeps it kind of simple. And again, this is something that we can do today. All right, now number 5. Here's a very, very important one, guys. Maybe the most important one on the list, to be honest with you. But another great tool. And thank you, Lester, for that question. If anyone else has any questions, go ahead and ask, guys. That's a great question. Green tea, very, very important when it comes to cutting back calories from liquids and just improving your diet overall, the calories that are going in. And again, you can write this down. Write this down. If you're having too much soda or getting too many calories from liquids, you can go back and check that, and then we can know what we can take out from the diet. So that's why number 2 becomes so important. All right, number 5. We want to eat a diet that you can maintain for the rest of your life and that you enjoy. All right, so I'll say it again. We want to adopt a diet that you can maintain for the rest of your life and that you enjoy. So basically what I'm saying there is we need to eat a diet that we can make a lifestyle change with and maintain, and something, again, that you enjoy, something that you're happy with. If you're eating a diet, one that you don't enjoy or that you find boring, all right, you're not going to be able to maintain that. All right, you're probably not going to be able to improve your diet. Okay, if you're eating a diet that you do enjoy and something that you can maintain, all right, then you can go ahead and improve that diet. But if it's something that you don't, you're just going to end up cheating most likely on it. All right, and a lot of the times this goes back to my discussions with keto. And again, I'm not hating on keto or saying ketogenic diet is bad for you. All right, all I'm saying is it going to be something that people can sustain for long periods of time and create a lifestyle change with. Same thing with intermittent fasting. People will just sort of jump on these diets just because they hear them a lot in the news. But, it has to work for you. Do you enjoy being on a keto diet? I know just firsthand that I did not. It's very hard to sustain a diet where you can't have an apple, where you can't have, like fruit, things like that, where you have to watch the vegetables that you're eating just so you're not getting the carbohydrates. Again, that's going to be different from person to person. One is not better than the other. For, some people out there, keto is going to be best. For some people out there, intermittent fasting is the best. All right. It just sort of depends what works for you and what can you sustain, right? And what do you enjoy? For me, I did not enjoy keto, right? Again, I have whole wheat bread in my diet, guys. Sometimes whole wheat pasta. Not a lot, but it's in there, right? It's something that I'll reach maybe once a week at most, maybe twice a week, right? But again, that's not going to happen on a ketogenic diet. I eat oatmeal every single morning, all right? Or at least every day. Last night I had a late workout, so I had it at like 6 p.m. Right? Again, not going to be able to have that on a keto diet. And I love oatmeal. It's one of my favorite foods. So again, smoothies, very tough for the smoothies. Now, is it impossible? No, but a lot of people like putting a banana into their smoothies, blueberries, other different carbs. I'll put in oatmeal. Again, oatmeal is one of my favorite foods, so I'll throw oatmeal in there. If you're eating a ketogenic diet, that's not something you're going to be doing. That's just not something that I'm going to be able to maintain. So again, you need to adopt, if you want to improve the diet, you need to adopt a diet that's something that you're going to be able to maintain. All right, if you can't maintain it and it's not something you enjoy, how are we going to improve it, guys? We're going to be reaching for those frozen foods, for those processed foods on a much greater scale, on a much greater level, much more common if you're not enjoying the diet. Let me know what you think about that point, guys. A lot of people will think why not just get on this diet or follow this way of eating? If you get on that, then, we can lose weight or we'll be healthier, things like that. Decrease disease and things of that nature. And that might be true. I'm not saying that that's not true. There's studies out there, I'm sure, that back up those claims, but is it something that you're going to be able to maintain? Okay, let's say, all right, I know keto, just off the top of my head, keto can be helpful for people dealing with metabolic syndrome or people who are wanting to spike their blood sugar. Again, we know that it can be important for those people, right? But for others as well, even for those people, all right, yes, it has those benefits, but are you going to be able to maintain it so that you can get those benefits for the rest of your life? I know a lot of people who go on keto and every 3 days they'll do a refeed. It takes sometimes up to 48 hours to get into ketosis. All right, so you're actually you might be getting the benefits in a window of 8 hours throughout the week of actually being in ketosis. So again, we need to think of diets that can actually work for us and that are actually going to be something that we can sustain. Sonia, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it. That's a great question. Is quinoa a good substitute for rice and potato? Well, what I would say was quinoa is a great whole food, for one, is a great carbohydrate, and we have to keep that in mind because it's talked about so much how it's a nice protein substitute just because it's a complete protein. It has all of the BCAA, so branched chain amino acids, so making it a complete protein, which is very unique for any plant-based food, something that's not like your chicken or beef or fish or anything like that. Is it a good substitute for rice and potato? Absolutely. You can have it instead of those foods, like brown rice or anything like that. But again, nothing wrong with having like brown rice or jasmine rice, black rice, things like that. So there's tons of different rice varieties. Could go on and on. Whole grain rice, long grain rice, things like that. But I think if you're cutting those out, same thing with potatoes. Like sweet potato is one of my favorite carbohydrates and consistently seen as one of the best. It's considered to be a superfood by a lot of people just because of its micronutrient density, its ability to digest more slowly, and because of its fiber levels. So yes, you can eat it instead of those foods. All right, you're getting a lot of the same benefits from it, but don't be afraid of brown rice or sweet potatoes or anything like that as well. But I think that's a great question. The nice thing about quinoa as well, that you're not going to be getting from as much from brown rice and potato, is that ability to add a complete protein into your diet. Add a little bit more protein with the quinoa. But quinoa is great, one of my favorites. I don't have it a lot these days. It was something that I had a little bit more a few years back. But yes, great whole grain great whole food that you can add to your diet, and a great carbohydrate. Again, if you're on keto, and I don't always want to go back to this, but I'm just pointing it out, if you're on keto, quinoa is not something that you're going to be having. So yeah, if you're cutting rice and potatoes out, quinoa is something that you can definitely add in there for sure, Sonia. My pleasure. No problem. Thank you for asking. Class online school. Thank you for your comment. Eat a meal that is going to be a lifestyle for you. Exactly. That's right. You want to keep meals, keep diets. All right. And again, diet is just the foods that's going in there. I'm not talking about necessarily losing weight, guys. Diet, again, just the foods that you're eating on a day-to-day basis. Eat meals that you're going to be able to make a lifestyle change with. All right. And that's right for you. All right, again, like I was mentioning before, intermittent fasting was pretty good. I could do the 8-hour window fairly efficiently, and I was fairly happy with it. But again, just a well-balanced diet for me works quite well and works for most people. But yeah, you're 100%. That's exactly right, class. You have to keep it for something that works for you. If not, impossible for you to improve the diet. Because one, how can you improve it if you're not sticking with it? All right, and it's not something that you enjoy. Again, that's the other point of it, guys. Something that you can make a lifestyle change, maintain, all right, reach your goals with. So that could be, boosting energy, getting more micronutrients, increasing protein, losing weight can be one. All of those different benefits. You have to have a diet that, you can maintain, and also that you enjoy. All right, if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to be maintaining it. They go hand in hand. But again, you're very welcome, Sonia. I appreciate it. It's great to see you back in here. And if there's any more comments on that, just let me know, guys. Diet is such a, different types of diets, I should say. Like paleo, Mediterranean, keto, intermittent fasting. The list goes on and on. So popular right now. More and more discussion. There's more books. It's so funny. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I was looking for nutrition books that I wanted just to pick up and, maybe just add to my reading collection. But there's so many nutrition books out there, and so many that are sort of marketing themselves as the be all end all, or the only one or best one. There's so many out there that I didn't end up getting any. It's just such a, almost like this plethora of information out there that you almost don't even know where to start sometimes with your diet. So, that's where I kind of come in, and I like to simplify things just a little bit. Again, for certain people, all right, certain diets are going to be a little bit better if it has to do with disease or illness or genetics and things of that nature, or maybe you have certain sensitivities to foods. Certain diets are going to be better. But again, think about being able to sustain that diet. Think about enjoying that diet. All right, there's so much out there. All right, I talk about this stuff every day and put information out there pretty much every single day. And even me trying to pick out a book or trying to add some more information, these books, there's just so many of them. There's so many different categories. They're marketed in such a broad spectrum that just trying to choose some can be a very difficult process. Maybe you guys have noticed the same thing, but yeah, it can be very, very tough. So number 5, eat a diet that you can maintain for the rest of your life and that you enjoy. That's going to be the best diet. And again, that goes hand in hand with being able to reach your goals as well. Now, number 6, again, important, something that we can do today. Just like all the rest of them. All 6 are ones that we can do today, guys, and that are going to improve your diet overall. But number 6, I think this is important for anyone. Have variety in your diet. We don't always want to eat the same things day in and day out. That's just boring. No one's going to be following a diet where you're eating the same things every single day. And again, that doesn't matter what diet you're on. You can have variety on a vegan diet or on a keto diet, all right? And within that broad spectrum or range. But have variety out there. Don't try to come up with different types of recipes. Add different foods that you've never tried before. There's so many options out there. We don't want to limit ourselves. All right. I know a lot of people that I work with, all right, they'll want to get on a diet and they won't be able to maintain it just because they think they have to eat brown rice, chicken, and broccoli. That's like your classic healthy meal choice right there. But that's not something I'm gonna be able to eat every single day. I can do that maybe once or twice a week, but I'm gonna get pretty bored pretty fast just eating plain chicken or chicken and plain brown rice and broccoli on a day in and day out basis. All right, you want to add some variety out there. People will think that with oatmeal, well, oatmeal is boring, but you can eat oatmeal. There's so many different options once it comes to oatmeal. Like what I'll do with oatmeal, one, I can put it in smoothies so you can get it that way, but there's so many recipes for oatmeal. And I'm not talking about those quick overnight recipes. A lot of the times we have to be careful with those recipes too, guys. It might have some healthy foods in there, but a lot of the times if you look at the labels or you look at the macronutrient breakdown of those overnight oatmeal recipes, a lot of the times it's like 80 grams of carbohydrates and like 10 grams of protein and like 8 grams of fat. So it's super high in carbohydrates. So that's sort of making an imbalance of your macronutrient intake. I know people who are trying to get protein into their diet, and all they're doing, they're getting 10, where that's very, very low. Say that they're trying to shoot for 25 in each meal. Well, to get 25 grams of protein with those types of meals, you're going to have to be eating somewhere around 200 grams of protein. I think it works out, of carbohydrates. So not the best balance. If you're looking at percentages, those types of recipes are a little bit unbalanced. You guys want balanced recipes where you're getting a good portion of carbohydrates, protein, and healthy fats in your diet at each meal. And again, that percentage breaks down a little bit different for everyone. One rule of thumb, or at least one that's really popular, is 40% carbohydrates, 40% protein, and then 20% fat. That's usually one that I see a lot of people follow. That's one that I've done for many years. I think that's a good one. And that's going to ensure that you get your protein intake, all right, and have adequate levels of protein. Some people go a little bit lower with the carbohydrates. Some people go a little bit higher with them. They'll have 50% carbs, maybe 30% protein, 20% healthy fats, things like that. Maybe 35 or 30% carbs, 45% protein, and then 20% fat, or 30% fat, depending on those percentages. And again, that's going to be different for every single person. And again, that's why it goes back to number 2, write down what you eat, because if you don't, you're not going to know the percentages. There's no way you can go back and then try to remember 5 days later what exactly you ate on that day and how much. It just becomes very, very tough. Good morning to you, Susan. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully you're having a good Wednesday morning. I know you guys are up nice and early. This was an earlier stream today just because I have work here in a little bit. But thank you so much for joining me, guys. And I hope you guys are getting a lot of value out of this discussion. I think it's something, one of the reasons why I want to discuss this today is it's something that everyone or anyone can work on. It doesn't really matter what your goal is or, what type of diet that you're following. I think it's something that anyone can be and maybe should be trying to do. I know that we can always improve our diet in some way. Now, does improving mean perfect? Absolutely not. I don't think perfect is the goal. I think the goal for today is just trying to improve your diet. But Susan, great to see you. Thank you so much. Always great to see you in the chat there. But yeah, I don't shoot for perfect, all right? And really, there is no perfect. That's why I always say, guys, choose a diet that works for you, right? Because a lot of times people will think that keto is perfect, or intermittent fasting, or vegan is the perfect diet for them. Where in a lot of cases, not all of them, right? But just having one that works for you is going to be the best choice. We've talked about that ad nauseum here. But again, perfect is impossible. Well, not impossible, but it puts a lot of pressure on you to be trying to eat a perfect diet. When again, a lot of the times not really obtainable, and a lot of the times not even really is an important goal. I mean, having the perfect diet, does that mean you're never having a cheat meal, or you're always eating the same foods every single day? We have to be careful with how we term it. So we're just talking about improving your diet, not making your diet perfect. And again, it just depends on your goals, right? If your goals are just to become, 1% healthier every single day, say it's a New Year's resolution, although I don't like starting it. That's why we're having it in October, not January 1st, right? Just trying to get 1% better, all right? That's a good goal, all right? If you do that, I read an interesting study. Even if you just get 1%, this is why I like small changes, guys. You don't have to go out. That's why when I mentioned drinking water, if you're only drinking 2 glasses a day, don't jump up to 8. A lot of the times those big changes aren't sustainable for a lot of people. Same with cutting calories. Same with exercising. I read an interesting study. If you get 1% better every single day, and might be kind of corny or cliche to some people, but I think it holds up true, and it's been kind of shown by science. But if you get 1% better every single day for a year, you're 37 times better over the course of those 365 days. So what I'm just saying is small incremental improvements add up over the course of a fairly short time, but even longer time. All right, so time is your friend when you do that type of stuff. All right, 1%, it's like compound interest. All right, the longer you can make those 1% incremental changes, the better and better your results are going to become. So 1%, say you're just trying to increase your diet 1% or improve your diet 1% every single day. That can be adding, a little bit more vegetables here, maybe cutting back on fast food a little bit here. Again, that's why I'm not saying go to 0. All right, cut it back gradually. All right, maybe you won't have a fruit juice. Maybe you have orange juice every morning. Maybe for one day out of the week, maybe even every other week. All right, you start cutting it back and have a green tea instead. But that 1% incremental change to improving your diet every single day over the course of a year, all right, 37 times better. How great is that? All right, you don't need those huge changes on a day-to-day basis. Now, the opposite way, all right, because all this is for improving the diet. All it is, and what these 6 are that I'm giving you, all right, is it's just good habits. At the end of the day, it's just all breaks down to good habits. Drinking water, writing down what you eat, eating more whole foods, getting less calories from liquids, all right, eating a diet you can maintain. That's all habits, guys. All that is breaking down our diet into improving the habits. All right, so we see good habits on a day-to-day basis and maybe improving 1% each and every day have tremendous effects over the course of a year. All right, over the course of months, over the course of a year and years, 37 times better over the course of that year. So good habits, very, very powerful. Bad habits, also very, very powerful, but in a negative way. If you decrease 1% every single day for a year, you're almost at 0. All right, I'll say that again. If you decrease, so bad habits, and it's notice how it's not a big change in a bad habit. A small change, 1%, it's almost not even noticeable. All right, so on a day-to-day basis, both ways, good and bad, almost not even noticeable, negligible to your diet and to your health. All right, but if you decrease the good habits or the habits so they become bad habits 1% every single day over the course of that year, you are almost down to 0. Okay, so we see a difference of 37 times better to 0% better, all right, and getting worse. And it's over time. Again, time is always the most important thing here. Over time, good habits, very powerful over the course of time. So that 1 year, bad habits, very, very powerful in the negative way as well. So again, hopefully that makes sense for you guys. Let me know what you think about that discussion. Again, when I'm talking to clients, that's all I'm trying to get people to do. Even when I make these videos, that's all I'm trying to kind of put into your guys' heads, or try to have people understand. You don't need to go out and make these huge changes. 1% every day is going to add up to tremendous results over the course of a year, over the course of a month. The thing is, people don't notice, all right, those results very, very quickly. So that's when people fall off. All right. So you start going if you're trying to lose weight and you go to the gym 3 times that week, you're still going to be you're not going to be in shape. Okay, that's just the truth. All right, so if you're trying to lose weight, say you're trying to lose 50 pounds. If you go to the gym for a week, let's say you go 3 times, you were going 0 for the last 5 years. You go 3 times during the week, let's say even 4. So you go more times than not during that week. You're still not going to be at your goal. You still might even be 50 pounds, all right, away from your goal. Right, because it's a learning process. Maybe you're still in a surplus of calories. Maybe the intensity level has to go up a little bit. So maybe you're at maintenance even. You don't even have to be in a surplus. All right, you can be at a maintenance level of calories. So, you know, if you go 4 times during that week, if you're going 4 times during that week, then if you're still going to be 50%, you still might be 50 pounds over a week. Sorry, I'm just reading one of the comments. 37% better, not 37 times better. Marianne, thank you so much for the comment. It's actually 37 times better, right? Which is the amazing thing. If it was 37% better, if you're getting 1% better every single day, if it was every single day, 365% better, but it compounds. So I know what your point is, and I've heard that as well before. Yeah, 37 times better. One book that you might want to read, and one book that points that out, is James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, where he points out and he shows a bunch of different studies. This became really popular in a Charles Duhigg book on habits as well. It even goes back to the 1930s, I think, with psychologists. Skinner was one of them. That 1% compounding every single day for a year, 37 times better, guys. Not 37%, 37 times better. So Marianne, thank you for the point, but I just want to point that out just because it's so much more powerful. 37% better, all right, in relation to 37 times better. 37 times better, much stronger. All right, but I would read, if you want to learn more about that, read James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. And you'll see that he puts it in a nice graph. He sees that compounding interest. So if you do that for 3 months, or for, let's say, 6 months, boom, those next 6 months to get you to the year is really shooting up fast because it's compounding, right? 1% better, all right, 6 months down the road, all right, is going to have a much greater effect than 1% better on day number 2. So 1% better every single day, 37 times better. Not 37%, 37 times better, which is amazing. You'll end up 37 times better by the end of the year. All right. Again, as he points out, and where I'm getting that information from, and he just puts it out. He's just putting the information from that book out from numerous different studies. He's just condensing it. But if you get 1% worse each day for 1 year, you're almost at 0. You're declining to a number that's fairly close to 0. So thank you, Marianne. I'm not trying to say like you're wrong or anything like that. I just want people to understand just how important that compounding 1% per day is. In relation to your diet, in relation to your overall health. I think it's just truly amazing. All right. But if you think about it, 1% each day, if it's just 1% each day, 365%, there's no way that it could be 37. But thank you, Marianne. I know that you're definitely trying to help with that comment, and I appreciate it. Thank you. And it just allowed me to make the point of how powerful that compounding improvement is with 37 times better. Lester, okay, just catching up on a couple comments here. Thanks also for the reply. Well, no problem, Lester. My pleasure. Thank you for asking. Don't wish to stray from. I deal with that. The Alzheimer. Okay, Lester, that's a very, very powerful and very important question. Now, for me, especially with things like Alzheimer's and things like, heart disease, other chronic diseases that are, of course, especially when you have someone that dealing with it. I've had Alzheimer's in my family as well that I've had family members deal with, and I know you want to assist them. The best thing to do is speak with a medical practitioner. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving coming at this from a medical point of view. I'm someone who researches nutrition. So I think it'd be irresponsible of me to give medical advice for someone dealing with Alzheimer's disease, if that makes sense. I don't claim to be a doctor, and again, I think it would just be irresponsible to give the ideal diet for someone dealing with Alzheimer's disease. What I've seen from studies, and again, this is not medical advice, Lester, and again, I'm very sorry to hear that. Foods high in antioxidants, as much antioxidants, as much anti-inflammatories as you can. But again, even with that, even with genetics, even with our environment, our living environment, that does not mean that, eating, there's not a correlation of, having as many antioxidants or as many anti-inflammatory foods in your diet means that you won't get Alzheimer's disease. Again, that's why I would never give medical advice. You guys don't ever... In my videos, you guys hardly ever hear me talk about cancer, all right? And the reason why for that, I just feel it's just that it'd be inappropriate for me to comment on cancer or limiting cancer or reducing the risk of certain cancers in those videos. So I apologize, Lester, that I'm not able to give a better answer. I think the best thing to do is speak with a medical practitioner. What you see from the studies, just what I'm regurgitating, again, not as medical advice, but just things that I've read and come across, things high in antioxidants, things high in anti-inflammatory compounds, again, and the relationship there is those types of foods are going to limit cognitive decline, improve cognitive function. So I hope that helps. Again, I don't want to give medical advice or lead you astray. I think the best thing you can do is speak with your medical practitioner. But those antioxidant foods, anti-inflammatories, that's what I've seen from the studies with dealing with cognitive decline. I understand, and thank you. Oh, no problem, Lester. Thank you for asking, and I hope I know it's a tough situation. Like I said, I've dealt with it in my family as well. So I'm sorry to hear that. Susan, yes, it takes time. I lost 40 pounds and kept it off for 3 years. I'm maintaining now. Well, congratulations to you, Susan. That's tremendous. Yeah, I think I remember you maybe mentioning a 40 pound loss, just because that sticks out to me so much. A 40 pound loss is incredible. And then even more incredible than that, losing 40 pounds, which I think, in my own personal opinion, is maintaining the loss. So you can get the loss, but being able to maintain it, tremendous. So big shout out to you, Susan, for being able to maintain that loss after you already achieved it. Again, that's where you really have to dial in. Because a lot of times what happens, you adopt a mindset of, well, you already achieved the goal. Now I can kind of ease up a little bit on the diet. Maybe I don't have to go to the gym as often. I see that with clients all the time. All right. Because they already hit the goal, they can start to ease off or back off a little bit. And then that's when you slowly, especially over the course of 3 years, we already talked a little bit about those compounding bad habits. Again, for 3 years, it would not take long to regain 40 pounds over the course of a number of years, like 3 years, 5 years. It can just inch up, it's very, very slowly. I know worked with people who lost 50 pounds. If they gained 10 pounds in a year for 5 years, then they regained that 50 pounds. And so that's like 0.8 pounds in a month. All right. Again, it's like less than 0.2 pounds a week. Again, almost not even noticeable. So just being able to maintain it becomes almost harder than actually losing the weight. So again, thank you, Susan, for pointing that out. I think like being able to maintain that weight, and again, these tools are going to help you to be able to maintain the weight as well. Like writing down what you eat. Right, getting less calories from liquids, eating a diet that you can maintain, having variety. Those are kind of your cornerstones, your key points to being able to, one, lose weight or to be able to maintain weight loss. Apple cider vinegar before food, good for digestion, is key. Thank you, Linda, for the comment. Yeah, you see numerous studies on apple cider vinegar and digestion, and its ability for for skin health and everything like that. And I think a lot of that has to do with proper digestion and absorbing certain nutrients and vitamins and minerals and all of that good stuff. But yeah, you see numerous studies out there on apple cider vinegar, and I've done numerous videos based on those studies about apple cider vinegar. You can find a ton on this channel. So thank you for pointing that out. But I think these are key, guys. And just remember, improving your diet doesn't have to happen overnight. It can be a gradual thing, all right? Again, you don't need those huge changes. We all want everything now, but we have to know the power of time and the power of compounding improvement, 1% each day, starting out with drinking more water, writing down what you eat, whole foods, things like that. If you can add those tools and those things that you can, implement today, things that are easily implemented. If you can start doing that today, and again, I was trying to go with the most simplest. There's other things that you can do where it becomes way more, I'd say, challenging. Like counting calories is going to be harder than just writing down your diet. Today it's a lot easier than it was before, because now you have apps and you have QR codes, and you can just scan foods off an app and on your phone. So just using the label, just pop up the calories right there. So it has become more easier, but it was always harder for people to actually count calories, and it's really hard to get clients to count calories. A lot of times it's even hard to getting them to write down your diet, right? That can be really, really tough. But it's such a powerful tool, and it's something that you can, if you're really, really dedicated and you really want to make changes and really improve your diet, it's something that you can do, and it becomes a strategy to improve the diet and maintain and see benefits in the long run. Oh, you're very welcome, Susan. Thank you. So I hope that helps. Again, 37 times better. Incremental changes, guys, to improving your diet. This is 6 ways. I think, again, I was going to do 8. I'll be honest, I was going to do 8, but again, I wanted to simplify it just a little bit. If you can add these 6, all right, again, I wouldn't go to adding all 6 over the course of a day or even over the course of a week. Again, it goes back to that incremental change. For this week, you might want to just increase your water and then add another one, or increase your water and write down what you eat, or write down what you eat this week. Again, incremental. If you try to do too much at one time, right, it becomes a lot tougher. I think I had read another study where it was like, if you had one goal, I can't remember the exact percentages, but it's broke down to something like this. And I think it went to New Year's resolutions or something like that. If you had one goal, right, you were 81% likely to hit that goal. If you had 2 goals, all right, that you wanted to achieve, you had 70% chance. If you had 3 goals, it was like 43% of a chance, or maybe even lower. All right, so you see, the more and more that you stack on or try to take on, all right, the less and less, and this is of achieving any of them, by the way, not 43% chance of achieving the 3rd goal. It's 43% chance of achieving any of the goals. So we see the more and more that you take on, the less and less likely you are of achieving any of your goals. So I would say it's better then to pick maybe the most important, or one that you find most enjoyable, or one that might work best for you, and try to implement that into your day-to-day. Implement that to improve your diet starting today. Because again, we see the more and more you stack on, the harder and harder it is. Again, that's why certain diets are harder for people, because you'd start limiting and restricting a lot more foods. Again, that's going to become more and more tougher for anyone. It's not just me that has a problem with, but who isn't able to maintain a ketogenic diet. That's going to be most people out there, or a lot of people I've seen. Not everyone, and it's not a bad diet. That's not what I'm saying. But for a lot of people, it's hard to maintain a diet where you can't have an apple or a banana. So if there's any more questions, guys, please feel free to ask. Thank you again so much for the support on yesterday's video. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know we started early on a Wednesday morning. It's funny. We went on for the Wednesday just because it's right in the middle of the week. It's kind of halfway in between Sunday. It gives us an extra little chance to kind of click in and talk and be able to answer questions and things of that nature. but we went with Wednesday. But I know it can be a little bit tough for people to get in here on Wednesdays. But we've had a ton of people show up today, and a ton of people ask great questions and make great points and all of that stuff. And I really appreciate it, guys. And again, if I don't always get the reminders up or set the date, just know if you're listening now or if you're listening later, Wednesdays and Sunday mornings, there will be streams, all right, and live chats. Also get a good meal plan. It helps a whole lot. Yes, again, and with meal prepping, that can be another one, all right? Meal prepping can also be another great tool. All right, and again, with having a good meal plan, what you have to do for a meal plan is write it down. Write down what you're eating. Again, that goes back to what I called mindful eating. Again, I probably did not, there's probably a 99.9% chance I did not come up with that term. I'm sure it's out there. It has to be. But mindful eating, all right, it just goes back to writing it down and having a good meal plan, Susan, like you said. And again, that can come through trial and error. All right, at first we might have a meal plan. We might think that it's the best for us. It doesn't work, and that's okay. All right, give it time, because if it doesn't work and you figure out a month later, better to figure out a month later than it is a year and a half later. You can make changes. It's not going to be a steady. It's always not going to be a straight line. You know, you might get bumps in the road, or you know, might hit challenges, but as long as you just keep going, trying to maintain that improvement each and every day, then you will be fine, and you'll figure out what works for you. But, you know, always keep in mind, you know, diet and things like that, if it was easy, everyone would have it. We wouldn't have obesity today, and we know obesity rates are the highest they've ever been. If going to the gym was easy, everyone would go to the gym. We know a small percentage of people actually go to the gym, and an even smaller percentage people have gym memberships but don't use their gym membership. So again, if going to the gym was easy, right, everyone would be going to the gym. It's not. Try to make those improvements gradually, guys. Most good nutritionists say no to fruit. All right, Linda. Yes, absolutely. That's a great point. Now, for people like with those, for like good nutritionists, all right, for no food and things like that, and if you listen to these streams before, I always talk about fruit that's high in fiber. All right, for me, I can't have sugary fruit, pineapple, mangoes, things like that. Just does not deal with me. I always will recommend fruits that are higher in fiber. Grapes can't have. Can't remember the last time I had a grape. All right, so more like your apples, pears, things like that. Good nutritionists, absolutely. I mean, I know all the people, or most of the people who you're referring to, and I also know that some of them that you're referring to are really big on keto, so of course they would say no fruit, right? So if they're big on keto, remember I already mentioned before a couple of times, all right, if you're on keto, like I said, I can't maintain a diet where I can't have an apple. So that's why keto wouldn't work for me. But it's interesting out there, just the things that the information that's out there. I mean, it's like apples versus oranges. You know what I mean? With fruit and stuff out there. Tons of different studies. I would say berries. And the other thing too, which you'll hear in my live streams all the time, Linda, if I was to suggest, I think my top 3 fruits are always blueberries, raspberries, and then something like strawberries or blackberries. I think those are always your best. Blueberries, incredible superfood, anthocyanin, antioxidants, fiber, super high in micronutrients, low in calories, true superfood. Love blueberries. Have them every single day. So same thing with raspberries, very underrated. Blackberries, very underrated. So yeah, no, I would agree with a lot of that. But again, also just keep it simple. And I always say more veggies than fruit. Less fruit than veggies. Of course, I know a lot of people will have many servings of fruit a day. I think 2 is usually a good rule of thumb. Again, that'll depend on person to person, so that's not for everyone, but I always say 2 for me is usually enough. Maybe 3, 2 to 3, more than enough per day. And it's usually blueberries, might be a banana, might be an apple, might just be blueberries on some days. But no, I really appreciate you guys coming in here on a Wednesday. I appreciate you guys supporting the channel any way you can. I appreciate it. Do the likes through your views, just watching the videos, interacting here, discussing with me, engaging. You guys have been very generous through your super chats. I appreciate it all, guys. Thank you so much. Like we hit 30 likes today. Having this many people in here on a Wednesday morning makes me very, very happy, just because I know you guys, or at least I hope you guys are getting good value from the discussion. So thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys took a lot out of this. And again, I think maybe the biggest thing is try to adopt some of these strategies. I think that they're helpful. All right. Again, they might not be the most helpful for you, but maybe at least hopefully 1 or 2, maybe hopefully all of them can help you achieve the ability to easily improve your diet starting today. Yeah, serving sizes of fruit is important as well. They go hand in hand, don't they, Marianne? I mean, you can have melon, all right, 1 serving size of melon, but depending on how much melon you have, that could be your 3 servings right there. I mean, the weight loss, the fructose in fruit. Lots of vegetables. I want to go shopping. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Linda. I like that pick too. Just like a bunch of different colors. That's what I try to do with fruits and vegetables. As much colors in your diet as you can. Yeah, and because of insulin resistance, absolutely. I have this discussion with some of my clients all the time. The fructose in fruit. Yeah, and that's, a lot of the times I'll point out, there's fructose in fruit. And again, even though it's natural sugars, we talked a little bit about this in the fruit juices when I was talking about limiting your calories from liquids. You're still going to be spiking your blood sugar and slow digesting carbohydrates right there. So, yep, same thing. That's why I always go with a nice rule of thumb. More veggies than fruit. And if you can, the most fibrous fruits that you can. Berries are always a good one. Apples are a good one. Pears, great one. Things of that nature. But yeah, it's funny you mentioned that picture. That one kind of stood up to me. It's kind of become the background for the live chat. But thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate the support. Thank you for joining me here today. Again, really appreciate it. And hopefully some of these strategies, and don't put too much pressure on yourself. Yes, we want to improve, but gradual improvement over time leads to huge results. Just like cutting out those bad habits, or if you adopt those bad habits, all right, negative effects over time. All right, and we can see that with chronic disease and everything like that. So, and sometimes, with chronic disease, genetics just plays a role as well, guys. But we try our best. We do what we can on a day-to-day basis. Those good habits are really going to add up. And we talked about just 1% compounding, 1% better every single day, compounding into 37 times better over the course of a year. Amazing. Think about over the course of 5 years, 10 years, how much healthier you'll be. And the thing is, we don't usually see those bad habits if they're at 1% per day. They don't show up until years later, which is unfortunate. But again, thank you so much, guys. So many of you guys came in. I really appreciate it on the Wednesday morning. You came in. Thank you so much for engaging with me on this discussion. I really appreciate it. And of course, we'll be here on Sunday morning with another interesting topic. I have a few that I would like to discuss. I'll kind of make that decision probably Friday. I usually do it a day ahead, and then I'll put a reminder up on on Saturday for Sunday morning. That way you guys know the time and the discussion, so maybe you can come ready to ask some questions if you have them. You've got a great voice. I'll be listening in the future. Well, thank you very much, Linda. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you listening in the future as well, and you being able to come in here. Veggies. Yes, absolutely. More veggies. I'm off to have mine too, actually. You have a great day as well. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone else in here. I wish I could scroll up. I know I saw Sonia, Lester, Susan, Marianne, Linda, Mimi, I know was in here. Ariel, T, I know was back in here. Ada, Class was in here. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. I will talk to you again on Sunday. And again, more videos going up each day. Appreciate your support and appreciate you guys coming in and listening and engaging with me. So have a great, happy, and healthy Wednesday, guys. Have a great rest of your week. I'll talk to you on Sunday. And again, just try to make those incremental changes as often as possible. And then I think they'll go a long way with improving your diet on a day-to-day basis. That's awesome, Lester. I'm glad that you did. And again, feel free to respond anytime. Love having the engagement. Love seeing your responses today. So thank you very much. And my pleasure. So I hope to see you guys again. I hope to see you on Sunday, where we'll have another interesting topic. And like